Thanks for staying with us. I'm Michelle Malkin. We're shining light here on Sovereign Nation about the truth about the Proud Boys with Gavin McInnes. Gavin, I want to get your reaction to recent comments by Texas Senator Ted Cruz, a Republican. Let's roll the tape.
I'm more than happy. As far as I know, I've never met a Proud Boy. I think they're bigoted morons. My colleagues, if you had a Democratic senator sitting here, none of them will condemn Antifa. So I'll condemn those guys. Those are not my guys.
Well, you don't have a senator. You have a guy who's never going to run for the Senate. I'll condemn Antifa.
Great. Yeah. Wonderful. And we are agreed with that. And I'm against anyone who's bigoted.
Gavin, your thoughts?
What a bigot. What an ignorant moron. And you know what's funny about Ted Cruz? The reason that he's in the youth zeitgeist, the reason anyone under 30 knows who he is because a Proud Boy, Sabo, made a poster of him with muscles and tattoos with a cigarette in his mouth and a wanted poster behind him. That was part of his youth marketing. And here he is stabbing us in the back. It shows you that the right is desperate to virtue signal and find Nazis. They know they sound stupid when they say KKK because that's from the 1950s at best. So they start throwing spears at Proud Boys, and it's not based on anything. Here's the big picture, Michelle. They pretend that the split now is racists and people who want justice. That is the narrative. The truth is the split is people who love America and people who hate America. That's the civil war we're in now.
I wish it was that much of a dichotomy, but, you know, Ted Cruz's comments show, and of course, many other Conservatism Inc. establishment outlets and groups out there who didn't stand by the Proud Boys when they needed to. And then, of course, this was an unforced error. Like, nobody was leaning on Ted Cruz, right? Well, why are you doing this? Nobody was like twisting your arm to do it. It's like he has to do this sort of preemptive virtue signaling, right? And this performative pose when nobody's even asking him. And I think that's really important that you mention about Sabo, because of course Sabo was summarily censored from social media and Twitter as well as other Proud Boys. And, you know, we show the clip of John Kinsman's wife. She's not allowed to be on Twitter either. And you made a point in a previous interview with me that you can't even defend yourselves on social media. It really should be up to other people on the right, allies who are patriots, to do it. And instead, they'll try to drum out and disavow anybody who stands with you. Thoughts?
Well, what Cruz was doing there is he was crossing over to the dark side. So you and I know that it's people who hate America versus people who love America. When he crapped on the Proud Boys, he was reaching into the narrative and trying to appease the people who hate America by saying, hey, people who hate racism, I hate racism too. And what you're really doing when you do that is you're leaving reality and you're dipping your toes into their narrative and saying, hey, I want to join your narrative. I want to appease you. Cops, there are some good cops, or other crap like that. No, you can't do that. You can't step into their lair. Their lair is fictional. Their lair is Lord of the Rings. So don't jump into Lord of the Rings and say, I hate Proud Boys, because you know the truth. And the truth is, this is just about people who hate this country. What we're watching right now in Portland is 100 days of America haters. It's got nothing to do with police brutality.
Yes, absolutely. There's a phrase that you embraced and the Proud Boys embraced that worked as a very effective trigger, and that was that you called yourselves Western chauvinists. And I think in the week of our 19th commemoration of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, that it's more important than ever that Western chauvinism be the MO of Americans. Can you explain that concept and why you picked that?
Well, I purposely picked the word chauvinist because it shows who's illiterate. And chauvinist has nothing to do with male chauvinism. Chauvinism just means you are extremely patriotic. You're extremely into that. So if you're a male chauvinist, you're extremely into masculinity. But we are Western chauvinists in that we're really into the West. And I got this from Pat Buchanan's book, Death of the West, where he goes on this chapter where he describes our sins, and we didn't behave great in the past. You know, our performance was not what one would expect for those whom the Sermon on the Mount is divine command. And then he says, but the West didn't invent slavery, but the West alone abolished slavery. And we have to stop apologizing. Your book, who built that should be taught in schools, because it shows young people, it shows everyone that the West has made incredible accomplishments. The East has not. Islam has been a bludgeoning sword for most of its existence, and it continues to do so. Even with Muslims, no one kills more Muslims than Muslims. Islam is a mess. The East is a mess. Russia is garbage. China is garbage. It's time to be patriotic about what we've built. And that's what Proud Boys are saying. The first tenet of Proud Boys is, I refuse to apologize for creating the modern world. And it's time we stopped self-flagellating. This ethno-masochism is getting embarrassing. It's time to be proud of what we've created. We of all races.
Absolutely. And Proud Boys, whatever their color is, white, black, brown, or yellow, have stood up unapologetically for Americans. And I think it's a great reminder and a great way to end this anniversary week for September 11th. We are proud of your boys, Gavin McInnes. Thank you for all you do. And thanks for joining us here on Sovereign Nation.
Thanks for having me, Michelle.
You bet. Well, Newsmax always seeks viewer feedback, unlike a lot of other networks. So if you have ideas for us or input on our programming, our personalities, thoughts on our content, issues with cable providers, or with Newsmax distribution, let us know. We would love to hear from you. Just use the online form at newsmax.com. And thanks for joining me on Sovereign Nation. We'll see you next week.